You're not out of the closet and straining the oils. So let's get into the calendula oil, all of it. The first infusion was strained, and then that same oil, a fresh batch, went into that for a second pass in heat box, which I talked about yesterday, and I'll link that somewhere if you missed it. But the point is to build an oil more slowly and deliberately. Calendula is one of those herbs where oil actually makes sense for this part of the plant's chemistry. Flowers, the flowers specifically, contain those lipophilic compounds like carotenoids and triterpenoid esters. I tried to talk about that yesterday. The oil, when I choose oil, I'm choosing a medium that actually matches some of what the plant contains, right? Like attracts like type of situation. That does not mean oil gets everything, obviously. It means that I'm targeting the oil-soluble side of the plant on purpose. There's a long traditional use of calendula in a fatty vegetable oil preparation for topical use. So this is like a well-established preparation style. That is true. I chose a higher melt coconut oil for this batch. It's the only way I like to extract or infuse oil with calendula. Regular coconut oil typically melts around the upper 70 degrees Fahrenheit, while higher melt cosmetic versions are sold for firmer applications, which is what I'm using it for, which is also why it's in the hot box. That gives the finished infusion more of like a soft salve feeling than a loose oil, which I personally prefer for everyday skin use. Moisturizing angry skin. I use it on my nails, I use it on my nail beds, I slather it on my feet and put socks on after a bath. It's great for any kinds of abrasions my kids get. This is just my personal anecdotal information. As always, here it is, I have to get it from the hot box. Make your own choices, do your own research. I am not a certified herbalist. There is no such thing as a certified herbalist in the United States. It's not a legal classification. You can be a registered herbalist, but not a certified one. So anyway, carrying on. Anyway, this is less messy than a runny oil, and I like the coconut oil not because it's food. I am not making like a giant safety claim here, but because in real life, kids touch everything. Hands end up everywhere, and I prefer a preparation that sits on the skin a little more cleanly, a little gentler, a little cleans up easier when they run their fingers down the wall, across the hall, across the TV, over the stove, the fridge, my dishwasher, my last ever-loving nerve. You all know. So any amount of predictability with 5 kids is an absolute lifesaver. So I also like coconut oil here because its fat profile is different from something like olive oil. Coconut oil is made up of mostly saturated fatty acids with lauric acid as the predominant one. And that fat profile is a big reason why it holds the firmer texture when it firms up. So that's why a lot of commercial carriers use it more than unsaturated oils. That does not make it universally better than olive oil, sunflower oil, or jojoba oil. It's just the right choice for the kind of finished infusion I want. Do you see how dark that color is? I should have taken a picture of it the first time I strained it. But anyway, that's a really important note, though, that I want to stress when you're working with plants, apothecary materials, anything like that. You have to have obviously a solid foundation of the essence of the plant and what it can and cannot do, but don't feel limited to, only use olive oil because that's what works best according to, some study or whatever. Do your own experimentation, do your own research, dig deep, and every body is different. Every single human body is different, and what works for you is not going to necessarily work for someone else, and all the things. Gotta get a new jar. Let's see if I can switch these without making a huge mess. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so that's the point of building it with a second pass. Dried flowers always, and then once it's strained, this is like a great kind of oil I like to keep around because it's useful in more than one way. You can leave it as a simple infused oil or turn it into a balm. or a salve, or use it in a richer body oil. Sorry for shaking the table. Or build it into a more structured topical preparation. That's part of why I like calendula oil so much. Is it's simple but so flexible. And simple isn't bad, right? We spend so much energy nowadays trying to extract every single thing we can from every single thing we encounter, right? And that's just not necessary, and it's not beneficial to the human working themselves to death or the plant that is being, extracted to an inch of its existence. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to get. All right, so what can we say cleanly about calendula on the skin is this. It has a very long history of topical use for minor skin inflammation and aid in minor healing of wounds. Even the European Medicine Agency frames it in this context. Stronger modern claim would be wound healing support, but even there, the human evidence is promising rather than perfect. I would still talk about it with some restraint. And with an oil like this, not everything has to be dive deep into the body matter. The skin's outer barrier is very lipid rich, so lipophatic compounds tend to work within that surface barrier environment. Simply by helping the skin hold on to moisture, it helps it stay less irritated. In one small human study, using a calendula containing cream, the skin moisture increased and the erythema, which just basically means red skin, and sometimes refers to like mucous membranes and stuff, but it's generally a sign of underlying inflammation, infection, injury, or allergy, whatever. Like sunburn, skin rashes, insect bites, flushing, like that present with heat and tenderness, that it helps, it helps. It does. So for me, though, this is less about pretending that calendula is magic and more about using a well-matched preparation for a plant that has a real place in topical work. 100%. Oil for the oil-soluble side of the plant is a personal choice. Dried flowers only. I cannot stress that enough. Gentle heat, no UVs. Simple straining. It's so simple enough to use. Calendula is a great first plant to start getting into. So yeah, that's that about the calendula. That's all I really got for now. And just know, I'm going to label this and date it. And just know that calendula does not need any hype. She really doesn't. She's beautiful all on her own. She just needs a really good preparation. And if you want more real world prep videos like this one, tell me what I should strain next or put in the hot box next. I was going to make a joke there. I mean, not 12-year-old boy. Let me know you want me to talk about Infuse breakdown next. Follow for more. Dead nettle is on the chopping block next for the next mini Herbs Miscast by the algorithm moment. And then Dandelion is coming up still at the beginning of next month. I've been working on that one in the background. So, follow for more.